Well, greetings and salutations, one and all, to the one and only Career Retrospectives right here on the Super Review Show Network. I'm joined by my two incredible friends, Kyle and Mike. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. What's up, guys?
Yo, is it Mayday
Yes.
Parade Day, or what are we talking about here? No, I'm just kidding. It's the title of our podcast. It just alludes to whatever we're discussing and breaking it. It came out in April, but we want to review it now. Mayday Parades. Well, I guess we're calling it an album because even though it's really short, we're calling it an album of like 7 songs. Their album Sweet that just came out. I'm pulling it up right here. This was, I mean, I'm gonna Kyle informed me about it, so I'll let him go first. But Kyle, what do you got from? I mean, Mayday Parade as a brand and this album. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, we've covered them before on this channel. I think we did Sunnyland. That may have been the only one we've done.
Yes.
But, they're a band that I've been very into since the early days of the band with The Lesson in Romantics. That being one of the best and most iconic pop punk albums, that era of pop punk in like the mid 2000s. And then that run of albums that they had earlier in their career, all the way up to their Monsters in the Closet album, were, just hit after hit albums. They're all incredible. So, recent years, they've kind of gone downhill a little bit for me. This record is no exception. It is something that I'll get more into when we, go into specifics, but it feels kind of like a shell of a band that I used to love. And I'll leave my little preview with that for now.
All righty, Mike. Mayday Parade. You're a huge, enormous, giant fan of Mayday and pop punk. No, what do you got?
I mean, like we've done albums by them before, and they're kind of one of those bands that I've always felt sounded like a lot of other bands just blended into one. Never really grabbed my attention with anything super unique, but like also didn't scare me away with like boring songs that didn't go anywhere. So I feel really kind of middle of the road with my understanding of the band. So like coming into this, obviously I'm not expecting a complete departure. Excuse me. That was did someone bark or burp?
No, my dog, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe someone had indigestion there for something though. But they've never really super had an identity that existed within something fresh and new, but also did some pretty enjoyable music. So that's what I kind of expected from this, and I'll get into what the album said from what it felt for me. But overall, that's just been my take on them and what they've brought to the table.
Yeah, and I'm not I shouldn't say I'm not a fan because I after we did a review of their the most recent that I'm the cop put on the wheel a while back for Mayday Parade, with this Sunnyland. So that was my only exposure to them. I didn't really go back into their catalog too much, but I listened to a couple songs here and there. This album being in a unique, good direction for me, at least. I mean, I haven't really dove into their catalog or other albums that I should have. I know I said I was going to. I remember saying to Kyle, man, there's so many great ballads on here that I could just dive into so much. It was going to be so much fun. I haven't done that yet, my friend, but I will definitely do it soon. But no, Mayday Parade, it's a nice, a short and sweet. Not trying to rip off Sabrina Carpenter, but it is a sweet album. I'm going to put quotes on it because it is short. It's only 20-something minutes long. But no, I dug it. I like this overall from what I heard, and actually I would go back to a bunch of tracks, even some ballads too. But let's jump into the track listing or our favorite or standout tracks, if you will. So, Kyle, why don't you pick it up from there, buddy?
I gotta be honest with you, I only had one standout track on this entire album. The only high point, and I say high point pretty loosely on this, is 4,000 Days plus the ones I don't remember. The reasoning on that being, though, this still doesn't really sound like Mayday Parade. This song sounds like Blink-182, specifically Take Off Your Pants and Jacket era Blink-182, right down to the instrumentals, but the vocals aren't as good. One of my biggest problems with this album is the vocal delivery. Mayday Parade used to be a band you went to for emotion. Lyrically, their songs were lyrically deep, emotional. You could hear the emotion in the vocals. That's something that I feel has been lacking from, their album right before this one as well to an extent, but this one for sure. This just feels so bland and lifeless throughout. It just lacks it lacks the identity that I wanted in a Mayday Parade album. The only other song that I thought was potentially a standout, probably the second best on the album, and even then it's just okay, was Towards You. That being, long lines of their typical ballad you expect from every Mayday Parade album. There's always the one or two ballads that they have, and usually their ballads are some of their best tracks. Miserable at Best, Terrible Things, Wear Blankets. Great songs, but this one just kind of misses the mark. It's fine. It's an enjoyable track, but yeah, those are really the only two, standout or two best songs I have on this one.
All right, fair enough, Mike. What are some of your favorite cuts, if you will? What do you got?
Yeah, I kind of feel along the same lines as Scott. Like 4,000 Days, it sounded like another song, kind of like what I opened up with. It felt like this album really just kind of borrowed a couple things that brought it to life, and then the stuff that felt like Mayday Parade from the last album I listened to didn't really shine through in any kind of super grabbing my attention. It was interesting how they did a lot of the By the Way song, as well as kind of a little bit of Natural had a little bit more of a contemporary rock feel versus like pop punk. And then, they did some pop punk in there, and then they did like the ballad with Towards You. That the last song was really a fall off for me. But my favorite song on the album was Natural, actually. That was one of my favorite. I like the leads. I like the more rock feel to it. The solos, the more stuff like that. Instrumentation throughout this album seemed like lacking. Sometimes it felt a little rushed, like Who's Laughing Now? Just felt like we're rushing through this song without stopping to do anything besides speed it up a little bit, which I think Knuckle Puck probably had a effect on that, most likely. But other than that,
100% has that sad boy pop punk
yeah,
era sound to it that like their Knuckle Puck neck deep style bands did,
yeah,
which Mayday Parade did an album like that back, when that style was popular. And
yeah.
gotta say, that album was my least favorite by them up until this point, which this song is right along those lines. And Mike, you mentioned Natural, so I just gotta say this. I don't expect you to know this, but there's a song by a band called The Somerset called Lightning in a Bottle.
Okay.
Excellent song. Amazing song, actually. 10 out of 10. But there's the chorus of Natural. There are lines in there that, even down to some of the wording, vocal melody wise, is almost lifted directly from that track.
Wow.
Now, Kyle, did you hear what the intro of Who We Are was lifted from?
Not off the top of my head.
Bullet for My Valentine's, Tears Don't Fall. It is literally so close.
Hold on, I'm checking this out.
Yeah. Yeah, you really do need to listen to that, because
Kyle's fact checking that note there. But yeah, I'm gonna jump in just for a second, if that's okay with you, Mike. This is like, maybe because I haven't really listened to any of the Mayday Parade albums outside of the Sunnyland one that we did. I haven't, and Kyle's reacting to it right now while we're live. How was it, bud?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah. You're talking about the part of the song that kicks like right when the acoustic part ends and the song kicks in, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, it made me laugh because I was just like, "Oh, Tears Don't Fall," but then it does something completely different through the rest of the song. But that opener is just literally, it felt so similar that it was almost criminal.
Like literally ripped off, yeah. Maybe not ripped off, it's just identical. No, but this is as I was trying to say before, maybe because my exposure to Mayday Parade outside of the one album we did hasn't been as dominant as you guys have. I actually went through this. I was like, I kept listening to it a bunch of times over, and for whatever reason, a lot of it stuck with me more than I thought it would. Like the choruses, the certain drum. I mean, yes, it does. A lot of it does sound like, as we mentioned, Blink-182, or even both of Valentine, stuff like that. This is definitely more of for me personally. I really dug a lot of it too. I could maybe because I have not been in the Mayday Parade world or the pop punk world in a little while, as far as my musical tastes goes and just everyday listening goes. But no, I really liked it overall. I mean, this is a very solid EP slash. I don't know what to call it at this point. I'm just gonna call it an album. Screw it. But I liked a lot of it. I was kind of surprised about how short it was. It was only 23 minutes long. But hey, that's to me that the fact that you can just put on an album like I was 23. I mean, Green Day did it with Father Hall, and look how that turned out. But still, yeah, that was not that great. Let's be real. It was like okay, it was not great, but no, this is it definitely. And I liked what I heard overall, but when I go back to a couple tracks, I mean, I'd go back to By the Way, and obviously the ballad Natural, because I'm a ballad guy. I like a lot of that stuff too. Forgive me, I know I'm a little drawn to it, if as they say, but no, it's got a couple of good songs on there that just I would go back to and add to a playlist or add to a Spotify playlist and stuff like that too. But that's just me. How do we feel about I forgot where I was going with that. Forgive me. How are we feeling about with sound and stuff like that, guys? It's like because I mentioned.
Maybe some audio.
Sorry about that. I mentioned before. I have my phone's on right now, and people are trying to contact me left and right as I'm doing a podcast live, which is great. Hold on one sec. Put this on sleep. There we go. Yeah, no, this is where was it going? Sound wise, I liked it overall. Like it definitely had more of a pop punk feel overall, like than I thought it was going to, I guess. So if that makes sense. So I don't know, but that's just me. So
I mean, like I said, my issue with it comes down to I think it was just a very bland sounding album to me, instrumentally, especially. Some of the guitar riffs on here were I'm gonna use I think Mike already mentioned it, but Pretty Good to Feel Something. Pretty big drop off for the album. It just sounds the guitar riff on there just so boring. It doesn't really sound like the band. Like it's fine. Like there's nothing on this album that I would point to and say, this is a bad song. This is a terrible song. It's all serviceable like background music, which again, for a band like Mayday Parade, who I expect so much more from, pretty disappointing. This is one of my bigger disappointments of the year. But we do have to talk about the most pointless interlude I've ever heard on an album.
Oh my God.
With
Here we
This
go.
Personified. Awful. Even Linkin Park's 1,000 Suns album with interludes like Empty Spaces, which is essentially an interlude of nothing, served more of a purpose than this. Like I don't know what the thought was other than like making even 8 songs. I don't really know. It didn't add anything to the album. It didn't do anything.
It should have just been part of the 5th song. It should have just opened with that. With no,
part of Who We Are, because Who We Are is already it's slightly under, just barely, but just under 3 minutes.
Yeah,
would have been totally fine as an intro to that.
I hate that chorus of Who We Are.
I completely agree. The chorus.
Who we are is who we are. Who we are is who. It's like
is the worst chorus. One of their worst choruses they've ever done.
Yeah, like just a cop out chorus is what I like to call that. And also, by the way, which isn't a Red Hot Chili Pepper song, I was just informed before the show started. I thought, hey, easy
there, buddy boy.
Yeah, 2 against 1, Kyle. Don't make us like skip up, do hit you with some like.
Mike, I wasn't gonna go that far.
Yeah, don't make me hit you with some like Anthony.
Give it away, give it away, give it away.
Yeah.
He moved to California.
Yeah, California. Yeah, right. But like the first song felt not like Mayday Parade at all. It really didn't. It sounded like a contemporary rock band, like that, just very unlike them. But then it like kicks into, like you said, 4,000 Days, which doesn't sound like them as much as it sounds like a Blink-182 or another pop punk band. So then who's laughing now?
real quick, even the end of 4,000 Days with that whole na 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 section, come on, that's such a Blink 182 thing.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And like then Who's Laughing Now is rushed, doesn't really go anywhere, but then like Who We Are has an annoying chorus, but it has elements to it that are enjoyable, natural, is like a good step up. But then like, it kind of just its shortness is its detriment because it doesn't present enough material that feels like they got a grasp on really hitting it home. They've just kind of skirted the edge of putting out, like you said, serviceable music that's not bad, but it's also not really capturing or grabbing your just your attention and everything like that. So it's like it's an interesting kind of like middle, hideaway kind of album where it's just like we'll put out some music to just live in that opportunity, but not really like seize the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go. I was gonna. God, I wouldn't.
I was gonna say I don't really have much more to say on this album. It's short. Like I said, it's serviceable. It does its job. I guess it does what they set out to do with it. To me, it was a disappointment, but it's not bad. I can't say it's a bad album. It's just a purely, exactly middle of the road album. It's a 5 for me.
Mike, is this a 4 to you or is this a 3? I'm not sure.
I actually gave it a 6. I mean, I because I'm not a fan of the band and their discography, so I don't like. I'm not putting it up against like all their music and going, I'm disappointed. To me, it's just like music I'm listening to, and I'm just mostly just like, yeah, it's there, but like none of it's original or unique or captivating. It's just kind of like it hits the ear in a pleasant way, but it never ever leaves you like wanting to give it high praise. So yeah, 6 out of 10. Man, could Kyle be the villain?
Oh
Could
my
Kyle
God.
be his own
Oh my God.
Hey, there's a good chance.
boy.
Well, there I was. My own when I thought that you both were actually going to like this a lot, but no, I guess I was wrong. I guess I have to be the one to stand up and say I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10 for whatever reason. It's not an 8. 8 caliber is no. This is not 8 caliber. But I like the maybe strictly because I'm not in their world. I haven't listened to their other discography albums, Mike. But I said that right. Don't you dare correct me.
Discography.
Discography. But no, I enjoy this for what it's worth. I guess it's a fun little thing you want to throw on. It's it's good background like rock music, I guess you could say, in a good aspect. But I liked it overall. Actually, we're going down to a 7. I hate to be that guy. We're gonna go down to a 7 there. No extra 0.5 there, but it is a 7. No, yeah, Kyle's the villain. Oh my God, Kyle, you're the villain.
Didn't expect that.
Oh my God! Out of all the people, I thought you were gonna be like, "This is a 10 out of 10."
No, not even close. Unfortunately, I was hoping it was.
7.5 for sure.
I was hoping, but I don't know. I wasn't too into their last album either. It was all right. It was better than this, but can't always be a winner. So
can't always get what we want, but if we try, sometimes
maybe
we could pick a better album.
Well, this is the first of a trilogy of releases, so I mean, maybe the other two I'll like way more. I'm gonna stay hopeful that I will.
There you go.
Maybe once they release the next 2, they're gonna release a giant super mega album of all 3 put together. Oh. Super trilogy. Maybe, who knows? Anything else, guys? Are we good? Right?
That's it. Rock and roll.
That's all she wrote. We want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy tonight. Thanks so much for tuning to our podcast, as always. Kyle, the Q&A podcast is
still not back.
Still not back. Okay. Will it ever come back? That's a better question.
Who knows? Not anytime soon.
Okay. Well, not anytime soon. Mike's podcast. You can find Mike Cornell at No.
Yeah, way to say my last name.
No. MC Hammer over here. No, needless to say though, this is a very you heard our reaction. That's our review, and this review is gonna be shorter than the album itself in about 2 seconds. So, but we want to thank you for watching us and however you enjoy us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in to our podcast. As always, don't forget to follow us on our social media page as well. Simply have the Super Review Show on Facebook and Instagram. And but for all of us here at the Super Review Show, stay safe, take care, and God bless.
All right.